All right, welcome to the relationship show. This person writes this post: marriage shouldn't be an end goal. Totally agree with that. And that's because I just see a lot of people think that it's like, oh, once I get married, then I'll be happy. And they don't focus on, how to improve today or improve the relationship today. But they think, oh, if I just get it, it's like this achiever's mindset. Oh, if I just get this, then I'll be happy. If I just get married, then I'll be happy. Then all my needs will be fulfilled. And all these problems that we're experiencing now in the relationship, if we just get married, then we'll have that bigger connection, and then all those problems will just go away. It's like, it doesn't work that way. Let's check out this person's post and see where they're coming from. I have recently separated from a short marriage. I felt a pressure to end up married, largely because of society and what would they think if I was all alone forever. Yeah, and unfortunately that is the case. It's like people want to justify their own decisions. Whether those decisions are good or bad, still people want to be right. And so they'll try to convince people of their own decisions. And so you'll even see this with like people who quit. And this is like what you see with like it's called like haters. Like, what is a hater? Well, really, a hater is just someone who quit and is trying to justify their decision of quitting. And so to do that, well, they have to bring other people down or make other people quit, because it's like, well, it makes them feel bad because it's different from their own point of view. Um, yeah, and so many difficult and so many bad things, if for lack of a better word, happen because of just people's different points of view. And so that's what like the definition of, I don't even know if I should go into this, but it's like a lot of people in like really really religious situations are say, oh, that's evil. They use that word so much, but really it's just like a different perspective. So they'll say like, oh, Muslims, they're evil. It's an evil rate or evil religion, or they'll say like this is evil, or just because it's a different point of view. Um, and wars, I mean, happen because of this, and just different points of view because of this whole situation. But it's the same concept as someone just like trying to really justify their own point of view, and saying I'm right and they're wrong. And so what you'll see is like society pressures like people to get married because, oh, I got married, and even though it didn't work out for me two times, and now I'm in a relationship now and in marriage now, but it's like, well, we still struggle, but that's just what relationships are about. But it's just like that's just how it is, and so people should be like me, and people should get in relationships and be married, because that's how it should be. And it's like, that's just fucking bullshit. It's like God, it's like you got to make the decisions for yourself, and how you feel, because it's like when you make decisions from peer pressure or what everyone says you should do, and this is how you should be, and this is the model and the mold that you should fit in order to be accepted by other people. Unfortunately, a lot of the times that is the case, but the result is people do things to be accepted, that really don't really align with their own interests. Continuing on the post, they say, since being in a bad marriage and experiencing this awful breakup, I just want everyone to know it is better to be alone than with someone who doesn't love you right. I wish I didn't need a 1-year abusive marriage to teach me that being alone is just fine. That being alone is better than fine. Being alone is better than stuck with someone or feeling like you need to do this or that to be loved. I agree with that strongly. It's like, it goes back to the society thing. Why I have to fit in this mold to be loved or accepted, or liked. I feel like when we are all okay with being alone, then maybe we will pick better partners. Yeah, so it's like, well, if you can enjoy, just being alone with yourself and just comfortable in, silence, or just like, it's like, well, we have to really become a friend to ourselves, or become a partner, and, really like and love ourselves first. It's like, well, if we can come from that place, it just guides our decisions in a much better way. And it's almost, we could become like emotionally more self-reliant. And when we become a more emotionally self-reliant, that's when I talk about like, oh, you can walk away and mean it. It's like not about some like, oh, threaten this thing. It's not about that at all. It's about you having the strength, and again, the emotional self-reliance and the emotional skills to go somewhere else. And it's like, no matter what, it's like you're going to be okay. And when you convey that message to a relationship, that is one of the most essential things that you can do. Yeah, and then she mentions that self-love, not just a concept, but necessary for picking worthy partners. Yeah. And often we pick partners either who are, like ourselves, either or who we want to be, or sometimes, what we're certain or we know. That one can cause some problems, because if we only know, like in her case, like abusive partners or abusive relationships, or that was a model she was shown through her parents, then sometimes people pick those partners based on what they're certain with. Even if it's a painful situation, they'll just keep going back to that. But another one is just like, if you can recognize, really what works, and that starts with an awareness in yourself, or sometimes it doesn't, so, really thinking about what I just said there. It's like, well, sometimes you get awareness in the world. So it's like, oh, you notice things that you never did before, or you read a book that just gives you ideas and just makes you aware. And that's really why I like books, is not because, oh, you learn all this cool stuff and it's fun to do, but it's like, it gives you that awareness. It's like an external source for awareness, and then you can kind of test those ideas for yourself, and then just notice them in the world. Like, hey, where does this happen? Where does this happen? And when we're like feeding our mind with positive things, it's like, well, we start to notice those things where we didn't before, and then we can take those and then kind of reflect it back to ourselves, and really just kind of know ourselves better. um, so yeah, a little bit um, off topic, or a little bit ranty on this post, but it's like, well, it really, coming from a place of making your own decisions, it's just such a better place than seeking the approval of others and seeking to be accepted. Because oftentimes that is actually just coming from a place of fear of not being accepted. So you'll put yourselves in these situations where you don't want to be, or aren't natural. Um, and, when we're making decisions out of places of fear, then almost always is it the wrong decision. So that's kind of what I'll end this with.